Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to today's live session. I'm super excited for the conversation that we are going to have today because I'm going to introduce you to the one leverage, the one ingredient of success you may not have thought of as important before, but it really is. So, when I introduce you to that, I want to begin with a quick story. The story is of a man who was always failing in college. I'm sure you know someone like this around you, someone maybe from your college or school days who, despite his or her brilliance, was just not able to make it through the classes. Now, when we think of people like this, what do we usually assume? We think, oh, they're not going to go far in life. They're not even able to bring some excellence here. What will they do in the future? And that question about their future might be bothering other people, them maybe not so much, because that's why they're able to enjoy their life so much. But there are some people to whom that question does bother. And the man I'm talking about was one of those people. He graduated his university with an average kind of score. He didn't do very well, and his career prospects at best seemed bleak. And because they were bleak, he thought, what can I really do? I need a job though. I need to pay some money. So he got a desk job as a clerk in a government office in Switzerland. And this story is like 70, 80 years old. Okay. So that time there was no phone, there was no Instagram to keep you busy even while you're doing a desk job. So essentially, he's stuck. He has no entertainment. He's sitting 10 hours in his office doing what? Filing patents, checking for that stuff, checking of whether the details are correct or not. It's a government office, it's a bureaucratic space, and it's the slowest pace of life you could imagine. Like in that room, you could probably hear the clock ticking, and that ticking would irritate you because there's literally nothing happening. That's how boring those environments can be. So imagine somebody who's graduated college with an average score, and 10 years they're spending in a job like this. Now, when you think of this life, does it seem like a creative life? Does it seem like a life of success? Or does it seem like a life that has been lost to the seas of failure, like the many voyagers that once step out, but there are only a few who can cross the rough seas and get to the island, the destination that we call success? And the man we're talking about was one of the few who couldn't survive and who actually went down and drowned because graduated, you spent 10 years like this. Nothing can be made of your life now. Well, you would be wrong because the man I'm talking about is the man who created history, and that person is Albert Einstein, the one who created the theory of relativity, who completely changed the world of physics forever. And when people get to hear this part of his story, they're often confused because they don't realize, hey, he started from nothing. He started from a place where he was in a negative point. He didn't have good grades. He didn't have good experience. He didn't have great academic help as well. He was working in a government office just for the sake of it. But here's the thing, while there were other people who were triggered by the ticking of the clock, while there were other people who had given in to the mundane, boring ways of life, Albert Einstein was not one of those. He embraced the one force of life that very few people talk about when creating success and impact, but that's the force that creates magic. And the force I'm talking about is creativity. While he was in those offices, while he was spending days filing away patents, he was not just looking at what the submissions that were coming in that he had to approve in that patent office. Rather, what he was looking at was, okay, what's the science these are using? What's the lens it is coming from? What are the perspectives being used here? And at that time, during those 10 years, he was constantly working away at the theory of relativity that he wanted to build. And now a lot of us would think, and a lot of us would say, okay, yeah, well, he was a genius. He was Albert Einstein. Well, that's what we call him now. When he was in that patent office, and when there were these people coming in to file patents, and when they were asking him, and when the government was paying him, and when his supervisors were asking him, what work are you doing? Nobody at that time knew a genius was sitting amongst their company. So who knows if you're the next genius who's sitting amongst the company of ordinary people? And you've just given up on believing in yourself. You've given up on giving life a chance. I don't want that to happen for you. And that's why I wanted to begin today's discussion with this amazing story of Albert Einstein, not to point out his academic brilliance, not to point out his high IQ, but rather the force of creativity that he used in his life. Because a lot of us make the mistake of assuming that creativity, oh, that's just artistic. That's just for the ones who want to be hippie. That's just for the ones who have no other time to do anything in the world. So they're sitting with their paint brushes and with their notebooks and writing poems and singing songs and all that stuff. No, creativity is a human need, because think about it. You and me and everyone around you has been born as a creator. And the single most proof of that I know, which I want to introduce you to today, is this. Think of the time you saw a small baby, maybe in your friend circle, maybe in your family, or when you had a kid. Go back to that time and think when they were really, really small, before they could even speak. What were they doing? They were being creative. I was, for one, the kind of kid that I was a very quirky kid. So I remember there's this video of mine from my childhood that my parents made, and it's half embarrassing, half cute, half funny. I don't know whether to laugh at it or whether to cry at it. But what I was doing was, I had taken a plate from the kitchen, a metal plate, I had taken a metal spoon, and I had become a drummer. And I was beating away at my own beats, creating something that sounded like music to me, but nuisance to everyone around me. And while a child can do that and be called cute, when an adult tries to do that, they are called a tryhard. They are called somebody who's just doing too much. Oh, you'll never be successful. Why are you even trying? These are the kind of statements we hear. Well, I want you to reject the people who say these statements. I want you to have the courage to stand up for yourself and to stand up for this force of creativity, because like I did in my childhood, making music with utensils, you can do the same, making music, making art, making power, making success with the force of life that you are. Don't tell me you don't have it in you. Don't tell me you've lost your spark. Don't tell me you're just doing a boring desk job for the sake of it. That's the reason I gave you the example of Einstein and not the example of the millions of artists that exist in the world. Because then you'll have an excuse. Okay, Prab, they were artists. Well, what about Einstein? He wasn't an artist, he was a scientist. But his science came from the source of creativity. His science had the force of that creation, of finding something new, of that curiosity that drives every single human exploration. That's a force you must nurture. The reason I'm here today, and the reason I'm such a good speaker, average or good, whatever category you want to put me in, you can do that. I leave that up to you. Whatever writing skills I've built, which are proficient enough to get recognized, to make me a world record, and to make me a best selling author, and my coaching skills that have helped me transform hundreds of lives. Well, all of that has not come from boring grudge work. I wouldn't have loved it if that was the case. It came from creativity. Do you know how much creativity and excitement there is when I'm sitting in front of someone and it's like, okay, fine. Now I get the chance to decode a new puzzle. Now I get the chance to change a new life. When I'm sitting for these sessions in front of this camera, I'm nurturing that force of creativity. And that's why I'm getting this energy. Remember this, creativity is the force of power. Creativity is the force of power. Look at anybody who's made it big, be it sports, be it business, be it science, be it mathematics, every single thing, even nature has creativity as its superpower. If we had to be so optimized, if we had to be so clear and strategic and straight up in our thinking, why would nature make curvy mountains? Why would nature make beaches that are asymmetrical? Why would nature give us flowers of so many different colors, more than our eyes can ever perceive? Why would nature create animals and societies and structures and tribes of different kinds? Well, it's not a surprise nature does that. The only reason they do it is because that's what life comes from. That's what everything that surrounds you comes from. So the question is, how do you nurture creativity now and why is it important? Well, we are in an AI age. We are in the age of copying things. We are in the age of sameness. And while you may feel competition is rising, for those who are creative, for those who are original thinkers, for those who are willing to say no to the winds of the crowd and blow in their own direction, well, for those people, there is no competition. And I seriously mean that. I mean that because look around you. What are you seeing on LinkedIn? What are you seeing on YouTube? What are you seeing on Instagram? All these places. Look at the content that's just being driven by AI. Look at the people. Like, I get so many cold emails from different people. I can see they've not even put their mind into reaching out. They're building a business. And what are they doing? ChatGPT is writing everything. Now, I'm not saying see ChatGPT is bad, not at all. But the thing is this, their creativity is going for a toss because they're relying too much in the sameness of technology, so they don't have to think. Creativity is hard work. As Henry Ford once said, thinking is the hardest work there is, which is why so few engage in it. Now, that was 100 years ago. Today, the scenario is the same, only the technology has changed. So if you see though, the people who've made it to the top as a constant pattern have been the creative ones. They have been the ones who've been willing to ask the question, what's the new angle here that I'm not seeing? They have been the ones who've been obsessed with a pursuit of something that matters deeply to them. They've been the crazy ones. They've been the indifferent ones. They've been the ones who've been called the rebels. Well, guess what? That's what gets you attention. That's what gets you success. So, if you're someone who's struggling to shine on social media, learn the patterns, understand what's going on, but make sure you bring your originality. Don't become a copy so that people forget you 2 seconds down the line. Focus on building a legacy, and the only way you can build a legacy is by embracing the force of creativity. It's inherent in you, it's natural in you, and the way you tap into that is by allowing yourself to expand the boundaries of what's possible for you. Here's what I mean by that. Now, when I'm doing these sessions, I'm not sticking to just one theme or one topic. I'm trying to build on one idea or the other. The main aim is clear. But every single day, I have this little mystery going on in my mind. Okay, what am I going to deliver today? What do I want to share? How do I want to share it? So I take my notebook. This is the one I have for planning my sessions. And this is my creativity zone. I plan out. What do I want to say? What do I want to share? The notes for today's video as well are here. I made them, I think, about 1.5, 2 hours ago before the session today. So every single day, I'm practicing creativity like this in my work. If you're a scientist, if you're an engineer, learn to look at problems from a different lens. That's creative. If you're an architect, try to understand how can you blend the concepts of art with the principles of physics and engineering and building something and make that magic happen. Forget everything else. Something as basic as mathematics is the most creative subject there is if you can look at it from that lens. The world is a playground. All you need to become is someone who's willing to be silly enough to play. And if you can do that, there's no limit to what you can do. There's no limit to who you can be. There's no limit to what you can achieve. All that demands of you is to tap into your creativity as your superpower, but has something else it requires, which is why you've kind of been holding back. And that's the courage to be seen, the courage to be vulnerable, the courage to put yourself out there and possibly risk some failure, possibly risk some challenges. But when you risk those challenges, when you risk that failure, the benefit is always worth it. Einstein didn't know if the theory of relativity would amount to anything. He was being creative. He was being focused. Was he doing a job to pay the bills as well? Of course he was. Nothing wrong in doing that. But at the same time, Einstein was absolutely clear. He was in the pursuit of creativity. If you can dedicate your life to pursuing this act of creation, God shares that message with us. Be it in any religion, look at any religious book, you will see the message ends with, you are the creator. I want you to take that message. I want you to take it forward today. And if you have absolutely no idea what to be creative about, if you've become like one of those drained people who say, I don't have a passion, even when you know you have a passion, I won't judge you. I'll be okay with that. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to become creative and passionate about mastering your life. Make your best project living the best life. See how creatively you can do it. See how amazingly you can do it. See the new ideas you can come up with. And before you know it, your creativity will become your life force that brings you back to being the best version of yourself. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for watching today's session. I hope Albert Einstein stories, some funny examples from my own life, and a lot of other things have aligned for you to help you get this clarity, to help you know that, hey, I should be more creative. So on the weekend, do something that brings a spark in you, do something that feels creative. And I'll see you once again on Monday at the same time, that is 8:30 p.m. IST. Bye. See you soon.